It's Allen Stiles
on Sactown Sports.
11 o'clock on the dot, and we are joined, as always, on Tuesday at 11 o'clock by Coach Eric Martins, third base coach for the Athletics. Coach, how you doing on this fine Tuesday?
I'm doing all right, Alan. I'm doing okay. How about yourself?
Pretty good. Can't complain. Let's just get the elephant out of the room, Coach. It's been kind of a difficult stretch for the A's so far, and I just wanted to kind of get your thoughts on really the vibes within the locker room, within the clubhouse. What is the overall vibe of the team right now?
You know, I'd be lying if I said everybody was happy and giddy right now. You know, I think you've got a lot of competitors in there, and a lot of players, and everybody knows that we're way better.
Having a little bit of trouble with Coach. We're going to try to get him back.
It's just
like he's cutting out in and out a little bit. Okay, we're gonna work on that. And
gotcha,
Coach. We got you.
Yeah, I think we're back.
Okay, cool. Yeah, and we were kind of just talking about how the team feels like obviously they're better than this, and you know you got some close games, some games that maybe aren't so close. And I know I was listening to coach or manager Mark Kotze say, hey, as far as Mason is concerned, you know, it's just tough because we have to be in situations where we can utilize arguably the best closer in baseball. So I know that's just got to be tough all the way around.
Yeah, without a doubt. You know, we've been in some games, we've been ahead in some games late. And, you know, it's just one of those stretches right now where collectively as a group, we need to play better. You know, whether it's offensively, defensively, pitching, you know, it seems like we can't get all three facets of the game going at the same time. You know, our offense will be good, we'll play good defense, and then our pitchers will stumble late, or our pitchers will pitch well, will hit well, but our defense will make a bad play later. So it's just one of those things that we just need to continue to work on, because we know this thing's going to turn around. We're way better than we are. We still have a big run in us. Unfortunately, we're putting ourselves in a bad situation right now, but there's a lot to learn from this. You know, our guys are continuing to work every single day. They're staying positive. So it's just one of those things right now where, you know, one big win here is going to kind of turn things around.
Talking to Coach Eric Martins, third base coach for the Athletics. Coach, obviously you've been around the game for a really long time. I don't know maybe to this stretch or not, but have you ever experienced something like this in either your playing career or your coaching career where it's just been a tough slump? And how did your team break out of it? And are you using any of those experiences to kind of talk to the guys and keep their spirits up?
Yeah, I mean, a couple of years ago, we were on pace to break the record for having the worst record in the league. So, you know, we've gone through this. But we understood the process back then of we were building ourselves to be a really good ball club, which we are now. So at those times, we use some of those instances back there where we can learn from those things, pay attention more to the details, and just not get too worried about, you know, getting caught up in the wins and losses, which is tough to say because it's right in front of you. You know, the stretch where we're in of winning one game in the last, I don't even know. I don't even really know, 15 or 16.
Yeah.
But usually that's over a stretch of 20 games where you're still sprinkling in a few wins here in between, so it doesn't seem as bad. So right now it just seems like everything's mounting on you because we have one win in the last 15, 16 games or something like that. And it's one of those things where it's just like, look, this thing's going to turn. You know, our team is way better. We're seeing some positive signs of guys starting to pick things up. Rooker and Butler and those guys are starting to put it together. Wilson's doing what he's doing. So it's one of those things where it's just like we just need to break one way or another to go on this big run that we're going to have here pretty soon.
What are some of the positives? And I know you mentioned Lawrence Butler and Rooker and others, but what are some of the positives that you as a coaching staff are still pulling from these last couple of weeks where things have been tough?
Yeah, it's like I said, it's seeing those guys start to put it together. You know, we were doing it earlier with just different guys every single day. Jacob's been doing everything he's doing all year. You know, Urias has been having a good year. Guys just contributing here left and right, and not necessarily with Rooker and Butler clicking on all cylinders. And now you see them starting to hit. You know, Jacob's doing what he's doing. Lang's still doing what he's doing. Hopefully we get Kurtz back, because before Kurtz got hit, you started seeing him do some things that he can do, why we brought him up so quick. Denzel Clark going out in center field and running stuff down, and now him starting to make some adjustments. So this is a very dynamic team, and when we all click, we all click. We just need to get some things turned around. And like I said, we have a big run in us. So we're going to be talking about this here soon about, Coach, you're on this big stretch right now, and I can't wait to be excited about that. But that thing is coming.
Do you think that, and I know you got to get out there and you got to play the game, no excuses, but do you feel that maybe because of the struggles of the bullpen, there might be, for lack of a better term, added pressure on the starting pitching? Hey, if we don't put up a donut or anything close to it, this thing could get out of hand quickly. Do you feel like maybe starting pitching is putting more pressure on themselves, and that could be in turn hurting them as well?
I think everybody's putting pressure on themselves, right? This is a team. It's a collective unit. We all want to do something to help us get out of this funk. So our infielders are putting added pressure because we want to make certain plays. Hitters are putting added pressure because they want to add more runs. Starting pitchers going out there just because they want to get some length and get some innings and not have to tax those bullpens again. So I don't think it's just the starting pitching. I think everybody's putting the pressure on themselves because we're, as a team, we collectively want to get out of this. And so we're putting a lot of pressure on ourselves to be better in our areas, defensively in the infield and the outfield, catching, offensively. And so it's just a collective unit of putting a lot of pressure on themselves, trying to get out of this, because we know we're better than this. And it's not one area's fault right now. Yes, It looks like in the bullpen, right? But we could have not made a play in the infield or the outfield that cost them extra pitches, which cost them extra runs. So we look at it as the big picture, not just one specific area.
Talking to Coach Eric Martins, third base coach for the Athletics. Coach, in the midst of this, do see some new faces out there, Denzel Clark, CJ Alexander. What is the kind of a 10 to 14-day report card on some of these young players? You like what you're seeing?
I mean, I like what I see in Denzel, and I think everybody likes what they see in Denzel in the outfield. I mean, he made that play in his home country in Toronto, which was unbelievable. And that's the scratch, and that's not even one of the best catches I've seen him make. So it's a treat to see him out there. He's making some adjustments offensively because he's so dynamic. We need to get him on the bases because he can steal some bases and make things happen. CJ Alexander has tremendous power. He's very versatile, can play third, first, play him in the outfield, powerful left-handed bat. Logan Davidson, former first-round pick for us, who's grinded through the last few years and finally got his opportunity. So we're starting to see some faces come up that are going to be part of this team. JJ Bleday just got back up here, so he made some adjustments in AAA. So, can't wait to get Kurtz back. And so it's just one of those things where it's, get some fresh faces in here that have been doing some things down in AAA and give them an opportunity to get up here and see what we can do.
Coach, I got one more for you, and this one is kind of outside of the diamond, if you will. Okay, we've talked before about the food and the restaurants that you'll go to, and we've kind of shared some recommendations. But I'm curious, you're in that ballpark all the time, Sutter Health Park. Obviously, I'm there doing River Cat stuff from time to time. Have you gotten to eat at Sutter Health Park? Because I keep trying to tell people the ciders and sliders truck. Okay, you got Oso's Mexican. There's a lot of good food out there. Have you gotten to eat any of the places in Sutter Health, or do you just go straight to the Diamond and you get on out of there?
No, I mean, I tell you what, like once I get off here, I'll be at the field, and our game's not till 7. And we're blessed in our clubhouse to have one of the best chefs in the league that cooks for us. His name is Kai. We got Liz, we got Jess. I mean, they take care of us. We get there and we're fed until our hearts are content. Whatever we want, they'll put the food out, whatever they're making that day, but you can also get a side of, he'll make you some tacos, he'll make you a burger, we are fed really, really well in the clubhouse. We don't have an opportunity to really go outside into the stadium and eat that food because we don't need to. I mean, we're well taken care of in our clubhouse. So,
well, I'll tell you this much. I got a trade for you because I'm gonna bring you these sliders. Because one time I'm at a River Cats game and we're doing a promo. So the promo was out by the left center gate. Okay, so that's right by the clubhouses. Right. So I'm there. It's, I don't know, the 6th, 7th inning. I start smelling the craziest smell I've ever smelled. They got the fried rice going on the flat top, coach. On the flat top, they're whipping it up. I was working, so I'm not gonna ask for anything. But I'm gonna try. I'm gonna bring you some sliders. You bring me something, and let's get this thing going. A little barter system out there. How about that?
I'm all about it. It just won't happen during the game because I can't be out there eating any sliders during the 6-7.
I'll come find you after the game for sure. For sure.
All right, that's a deal. I'm all about it.
All right, that was Coach Eric Martins. Coach, good luck tonight taking on those Twins. We will talk to you again next week, and we know that you're close to getting over the hump, and we can't wait to talk to you when it happens.
Absolutely, I appreciate it, Allen.
That was Coach Eric Martins, third base coach for the Athletics, in the middle of a tough stretch right now. But that's not scaring off the fans. Kyle, you were in attendance last night, and it looked like another good crowd.
I believe 8,922 was the announced attendance. Far less Twins fans than other teams, which, there's people from everywhere in Sacramento, but there's only a couple Joe Mauer jerseys, randomly 2 Justin Jefferson jerseys, which I thought was kind of funny.
Yeah, I met somebody from Minnesota during a River Cats game, and obviously, they were there. That was when the Twins were in the midst of their crazy winning streak,
like 14 in a row or whatever.
Yeah, so the greatest giant that never was, with Carlos Correa and the crew, and it's not going to be easy for the A's. Nobody's going to help them, and they know that. So every game we're watching, just seeing, okay, when are they going to turn this thing around? And hopefully it starts tonight.
And last night probably should have been the night. Our guy Ramsey was out there at the ballpark too, and he brought up the point that was like, Severino went 6 innings, 5 of them he retired all 15 batters, and 1 inning he gave up 6 runs. So it's like, if you take out that 1 inning, Severino was basically perfect and putting them in a spot to win, but it's just not happening for the A's. And like we said, this is their worst. And shout out Chris Biederman, who I got to sit next to yesterday, brought up the stat that this is the first time since 1943 that the Athletics have gone 1-17 over an 18-game stretch, which we were joking about it earlier. Some people who were born in 1943 include Chevy Chase and Billie Jean King.
That's crazy.
Those people are old now.
And the top movie was Casablanca.
Casablanca won Best Picture at the Oscars, the 15th annual Oscars. I think they just had 100.
Yeah, that is nuts. I mean, I'm talking grandparents. I mean, Kyle's probably great grandparents, but my grandparents, my parents weren't even alive yet. I mean, this is insane.
Christopher Walken was 5 months old when the Athletics last had this stretch. That is a little bit. Joe Pesci was 6 months old when the Athletics last had this stretch. And we looked it up earlier. It wasn't even the Athletics. It was just some random dudes.
Yeah.
Because all the real Athletics were off at war.
Yeah.
So the fake Athletics.
They were in Philly, not at war. That was pretty much
the fake Athletics who were not at war were the ones who went 1-17.
And clearly were also not very good at baseball.
Well, they weren't world-class athletes. Because I will say, the Yankees also had some dudes that were off at war, but they still won the World Series that year.
When we return, he's a long wing from the Eastern Conference, and they paid a boatload of picks to get him. That is our trade candidate, our trade target for the day. We discuss and we reveal who it is when we return. Allen Stiles, Sactown Sports.
Hey, everyone, it's Kyle